Okay, so this semester I'm in room 103, kindergarten. We have student artwork outside of the door, and the students love to point out which one's theirs. And it's relevant because it's what we're doing in reading, and also there's a lot of ponds where some of the students live. We come inside. First thing we see is the how we line up. So hands behind our back, eyes in front, and big bubbles. So this is just a reminder, and the students chant it back. Here is our motto, school motto, and then the mission statement. We don't really go over that with the students, but then we have the birthdays, and the students like to see, oh, my birthday's here, and it's just kind of like classroom culture. And then all along the walls, it's really nice because my mentor teacher, she utilizes every single little space that she has. And up here all around we have parts of the like parts of a book, kind of. So like, not parts of a book, but like, so for example, here's characters, and it's a Disney themed classroom. So she has pictures of what examples of characters can be like, and then she has like a little poster, and then she has what a setting can be, and we have used these retelling, so they can retell the story, and problem and solution. So these are the ones that we've used so far for reading. So we'll reference these before we start a story. So in Ready Gen, which is our curriculum for reading, we'll take the story A Home for Hermit Crab, and we'll say, okay, so what's the problem that Hermit Crab has, and what's the solution? And then we can retell and we practice by using like these popular Disney movies that most of the students have seen. So I thought that was just really cool, and they like to point it out also. And then for our classroom, we don't label anything with names. We have numbers, just because students, new students arrive and also students leave. So number 26 left at the beginning of the school year, and we got a new student, so she just filled in that spot, which is really nice because then we don't have to relabel anything or take off and take on again. The phone, students do not answer the phone, but when the phone rings, they know to catch a big bubble, and we've practiced that procedure over and over, and my mentor teacher or I answer the phone. Over here we have how do you want to be greeted? So every morning each student chooses one, and this is how they're greeted. A lot of the students like the little dance one, and it's so cute because they do a lot of the dances in Fortnite. We have, these are assessments, and again, we don't use names, we just use numbers, which is really nice because then the students don't know like, oh, red is for I really need help, or yellow is I'm almost there but I still need some work, and green is I got it, I'm good to go. So we have those, we have them all along the walls as well. And then she will come up over here, she'll bring a student, and then she'll assess them, and she'll move it up, and she's done. And again, along the walls at the top, we have more posters. We haven't used nouns or pronouns or verbs just yet, but I'm sure we will. Here is the sink. Once the students use the restroom, which is in there, they come in and wash their hands. And we have one more sink over there, just because we have two potties. If two students go at the same time, they can both wash their hands at the same time. We don't really reference the posters over here. But we do use this for their artwork if it's painting. We haven't used the easel that much, and then we keep the windows shut, which I don't really like, but I do understand that it can be a distraction. Over here, this is something new that we're implementing, so it's a self-assessment that the students can use. After we've done a piece of writing, they can come up and they can see, oh, I'm gonna score myself a 1 because my picture is, and what the rubric says, and we have worked with these rubrics since the beginning of the year, so it's kind of, they already know what to do, but this is like, the poster is new. Again, self-assessment up here, super easy. We have up here caring, so what caring looks like, and then examples of Disney movies, fairness, and transitions, trustworthiness, but we haven't really looked at those yet. And then along this whiteboard, we don't really use it for like learning. We mostly use it to like hang posters or things that we need, such as the lunch choices. So the lunch choice menu is right here, and every morning once we get the kids out from from the recess, before we walk in, we tell them the lunch choice. So on Tuesday the 15th, it's going to be pizza, cheese or pepperoni, and a crispy chicken strip salad. So we'll do green choice and red choice, and then each student has a number if they don't bring a lunchbox, and she has them color coded. So hot lunch, which is pizza, and cold lunch, which is the salad, and then there's always yogurt and peanut butter. And they go make a choice and they put it right on their card, and then right before lunch they just get their cards and they're good to go. So I think that's brilliant, just so that they can see. One thing I would change is having a picture of what the lunch looks like. More posters that we utilize. These are the students, so their number will always remain the same, and like this student moved and then another student came in. We have our objectives, our lesson plans, and these are the codes for the iPads, which never move. The students, they come up and reference it when they need to unlock the iPads. Here's our clip chart. Students always clip up, and we don't clip them down if they made like a poor choice or not a safe choice. So it's mostly positive. We have our schedule up here, though we don't really use it, and because this is an inside school, the students can't really see like the time of day, so I would really implement this to show them where we are during the day, but again, we don't really use it. This is my mentor's corner. She has her whiteboards that we utilize for foundations, and they're easy access to the carpet. We have puzzles and blocks that we use for free choice. We have the free choice buckets at the end of the day. We have these iPads. We haven't used these just yet. We don't use this. We don't really use any of this or any of that. The iPads, the students can just come up and get an iPad, but I would have some sort of procedure, because sometimes this is all the way like down there, and then that's when they get damaged. And also the cords have been becoming loose because students just come up and pull. So I would have a different procedure for that. They don't really touch this. My mentor uses her computer. She pulls up a little chair to work the smart board when we do like sight word songs or brain breaks. We have treasure box on Fridays, and any friend that gets to purple get to choose treasure box. And this is actually my honey jar, and I just have like cheap little things in there. And then these are our book buckets. So the students will come up, well, book bins, and they get their book bin, and they already have stories in here that they can read. Library is sometimes a center during morning centers, but every Friday we also have buddy reading, so that's when they pull it out too. And the smart board, we use it all the time, like I said, for writing, for math, for trying to think, reading, and we utilize this so much. Brain breaks. We also use wall space, like I just said. We go over the classroom rules every day. We have I Can Sequence Where Is Home Little Pip, so that's like the story that we were doing for our reading group. We moved on to another one, so we'll have to update that. We don't really utilize these. We do utilize this poster all the time, not necessarily these, but we are learning like 10 and 5 is 15, so I would utilize that. We have differentiation seating in here, so not differentiation, flexible seating, that's what it is. So students can come up, grab a lap desk if they're making a smart choice, and if they get chosen, and they can work anywhere on the carpet. We also have the cushion table, and we have the donut seats, but they haven't been able to choose where they would like to work just yet. I'm not sure when my mentor will start implementing that, but I thought that was a great way to create some classroom management and positive reinforcement at the same time. We do a lot of our learning on the large carpet. The students got to choose where they like to sit, and there's a procedure for how we have them sit, and they have to state it every time we come to the carpet. But we do switch back and forth from table work to large group instruction, and then back to like centers or something like that, just to give them some movement. We utilize these for foundations all the time, this too, and we utilize this and the number chart for math, more book bins, and we utilize these characters for some of our activities and foundations, but the students are not able to come up and grab one. We utilize all of these during our morning reading curriculum. So we'll always have like the goal and the objectives and the checklist, and we'll go over our sight words and our vocabulary words. So this is a vocabulary we use for the story, Life in a Pond. Library is usually a center, but the students cannot come here anytime they want. It has to be open for a center, and this is not a calm down center either. We have scoop chairs for more flexible seating, which are only used for library or buddy readers. We have our word wall. These are not all the words we know. We know like a quarter of these, but my mentor just kept them up. This is her space, so the students are not allowed to touch any of this. This is where she keeps like all her how do you say it, like work for the day, work for the week. The horseshoe table, we do utilize this. I normally don't. She'll usually be here with our low group of students, and then I'll be monitoring the other 3 tables or 4 tables, however we split them up. That's part of the reading corner, and the students are not able to get into the cabinets, which are just used for storage. Again, that's hers. This is another sink where the students can come up and take a drink of water, wash their hands, and we also set up the water drink station here, so students are not able to take their drinks anywhere else in the classroom. They have to come up and take a drink and put it back. Tissues, trash can. We use this bookshelf for lunch boxes, so students in the morning unpack as their morning routine. They take their lunchbox if they brought one and set it on the bookshelf, or they make a lunch choice. They hang up their backpack, and these are our math centers that we're using currently, so those haven't changed. And then obviously my mentor is here in the front, and we do not have class jobs, so it's just whoever gets here. And we have student art, not student art, but student work up top. And that is basically it. And then just like our tables are in groups, so nobody will ever work alone. We do sometimes have to pull students to the small group table, like I mentioned, or if somebody made a super poor choice, then they might get pulled, but that's the only time. And they have community buckets, so everybody has their own supplies, but it's all together. Like sometimes we'll leave the pencil box out in front of them, but at the end of the day we put them all back so it can look nice and clean. And then all their workbooks are in here, and again, they all have their number, and the foundations books are the only ones that have their name, but all the other ones have numbers. So I think that that's a good system, but sometimes if the student does not know, if they cannot recognize their own name, which most of our students do, recognizing a number isn't much of a help either. But that's when student teachers are when you can incorporate them. So one of our students will be like the student teacher, and they'll like pass out the books or help facilitate that. So it's not that big of a deal. And then what we also did in the beginning is we took out all of the books that we were going to use. For example, if we were going to use all the sticker books, then we would just lay out all the sticker books until they understood that these are sticker books and these are little journals. So that's basically it. Oh, and then I don't really have a corner, so I just put all of my stuff in the pod or the office, and that's where I come in and out, or I'll just put my stuff right here and the students don't really touch it. But I would really like to have a little corner where I can put my stuff, but there's not really any space, but that's okay. Not a big deal.